This is WCCO 4 News at 10.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Randy Kay.
And I'm Don Shelby. 6 animals dead, including 4 tigers, a camel, and an emu. Tonight, animal cruelty investigators want to know why. Police served a search warrant here after a neighbor complained about this exotic animal farm. Once inside, the law enforcers found the dead animals. That farm is in Otter Tail County, just outside Pelican Rapids. Bridget Bornstein looked into what happened.
Don, while this case is sad, it's certainly not out of the ordinary. There are exotic animal owners all over Minnesota, and while they may be well-intentioned, some find they just can't care for the animals the way they should.
Investigators have been called here before, but there didn't seem to be serious problems until now.
We've had the state veterinarian up, took a look at the animals at one time, and the animals were healthy at the time.
The farm is owned by a Dr. Roy Cordy. He is a doctor, though not a veterinarian. Neighbors thought the place closed down, but you can see when we visited today, there were still animals roaming the lot.
I just thought they took them out. I knew they were going out of business or something.
It's not clear yet why the animals died. The cold weather may have been a factor, though it probably wouldn't have been the killer. Most tigers and camels thrive in the cold, like these Bactrian camels at the Minnesota Zoo. If they have a balanced diet and water, they should be able to survive.
A big key factor, especially in cold climates, is enough food, and they need the right kinds of food. Our camels get a lot of hay and browse, and then they get grain, daily grain. So if you feed them well enough in the winter, they should maintain body temperature and be able to stay warm and stay healthy.
It's another private exotic animal owner gone bad.
This animal cruelty investigator has seen so many cases like this, he's become something of a lobbyist.
It's a house file.
Keith Streff is backing a state bill to help control exotics. Right now, anyone can go get a Bengal tiger, for example, and keep it on their property in rural Minnesota. The bill would change that.
The state of Minnesota has very little, if any, regulatory language regarding possession of exotic animals. We can perhaps prohibit or stop catastrophes like this.
That bill was introduced last session, but it didn't go anywhere. It may be reintroduced in the next couple weeks. And as for that Pelican Rapids case, the owner is cooperating with investigators. No charges have been filed. Don and Randy, back to you.
Thanks, Bridget. An 11-year-old girl disappears while walking home from a friend's house.
Tonight, police have a suspect in custody in Florida. 37-year-old Joseph P. Smith was picked up yesterday on unrelated charges. Smith is believed to be the prime suspect in the disappearance of 11-year-old Carly Bershia. Her apparent kidnapping was caught on tape by a car wash surveillance camera. A Sarasota resident ID'd Smith as the man on the tape. Now investigators say evidence could prove it.
I would point out that he became a suspect in relation to the phone calls that we did receive from the community, and we have strong evidence to suggest that he is, in fact, the perpetrator.
In 1997, Smith was arrested for kidnapping and false imprisonment, but he was acquitted a year later. There is still no sign of Bershia.
Tonight, a brother and sister are charged with killing a Zimmerman man. 19-year-old Thomas Cady Jr. was found dead in a ditch in Little Canada last November. Today, police arrested Robert Larson and his sister Jamie Larson. The two are charged with second-degree murder for strangling Cady. Jamie Larson was Cady's girlfriend. You expect a state trooper to serve and to protect, not to break the law, but tonight one Minnesota trooper is charged with that. 26-year-old Jennifer Lee Schneider is accused of using her squad car, lights and sirens, to get to a hockey game on time. But before Schneider could get there, she crashed into another car in Eagan. The trooper lied when she told police she was chasing a motorist who'd run a red light. An Explorer Scout intern was with Schneider when the crash happened. She had allegedly told the teenager to back up her story.
It really bothers me that she would lie and tell this kid to fabricate a story too. I mean, and maybe it's wrong to call him a kid. He's 19 years old, but he's an explorer because he wants to be in law enforcement. And you know, what kind of lesson did that send?
Trooper Schneider has been charged with official misconduct and gross misdemeanor. If she is convicted, she could lose her police license, face a year in jail, and a $3,000 fine.
Gay couples will be saying their I do's in Massachusetts this spring. That state Supreme Court today cleared up any questions about legalizing same-sex marriages. Massachusetts lawmakers wanted to know if giving gays civil unions was enough. The court said no. That's not constitutional, and separate is seldom equal. While gay rights advocates cheered this decision, the White House promised to put up a fight.
This ruling is deeply troubling. The President is firmly committed to protecting and defending the sanctity of marriage. He strongly believes that marriage is a sacred institution between a man and a woman.
President Bush has suggested a constitutional amendment that could stop gay marriages. Some Minnesota lawmakers want voters to decide if our state constitution should ban such marriages as well.
The Bush team tonight is defending its decision to start the battle for Iraq. The president said the war will help bring democracy to the Middle East. That was one reason for the invasion. But America's top concern was Iraq's arsenal. So far, inspectors haven't found anything we should have worried about. While investigators look into apparent intelligence failures, the defense secretary isn't ready to admit that we were all wrong.
It took us 10 months to find Saddam Hussein. The reality is that the hole he was found hiding in was large enough to hold enough biological weapons to kill thousands of human beings.
But Rumsfeld concedes U.S. intelligence will never be perfect.
Before the mistakes in Iraq, our government missed clues about 9/11. A commission is looking into those attacks. Today, the White House did a 180 and decided investigators need more time. That means the final report should be out in August. Political analysts say its findings could make the president's re-election campaign vulnerable. Investigators have already uncovered huge holes in customs and aviation security. A Democrat tonight is trying to convince voters he can manage these issues better than President Bush. Candidate John Kerry rested today after winning 5 of 7 states in last night's primaries and caucuses. The Massachusetts senator now has his sights set on Michigan. It and Washington have primaries and caucuses Saturday. Democrats in Maine vote on Sunday. A Gallup poll done before last night's votes shows Kerry beating Bush 53 to 46% among likely voters. That same poll found voters think of Kerry as a champion for average Americans, but Bush as a stronger leader. Coming up in about 10 minutes, Pat Kessler adds up which candidates Minnesotans are putting their money on in Reality Check.
The government star witness in the Martha Stewart trial says her broker tried to redesign a story in her defense. Douglas Faneuil says Stewart's broker offered him a week's vacation and a trip to cover up the truth. Prosecutors indicted Stewart on securities fraud last summer. Investigators say she got word that a company's stock would tank the day before it did. Stewart pleaded not guilty in the case. Gasoline prices in the Twin Cities are climbing tonight. Just last month, we were paying about $1.50 a gallon for unleaded gas, but tonight, some gasoline stations are charging around $1.70. WCCO's Esme Murphy joins us live with what's driving up the cost. Esme?
Well, Don, if you've gone to the gas station in the past 24 hours, you've no doubt encountered sticker shock. Right here in downtown Minneapolis, the price is $1.73 a gallon. And while that price varies across town, the only direction prices are heading around town is straight up. It's enough to make the dollar signs spin in your head. In some cases, prices are up almost a dime overnight. Consumers like Steve Gerbich of Coon Rapids are crying foul.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I mean, one day it's $1.53, the next day it's $1.73. Sometimes in the same day, it's the same gas station goes up about 10 cents every day.
So why is it that our gas prices keep climbing? Well, the experts tell us it's because of the huge amount of snow and cold weather we've been getting, not just here, but across the country.
Especially in the Northeast, there's been a run on home heating oil, which impacts the price of crude oil, which in turn impacts the price of gasoline.
Jason Taves runs TwinCitiesGasPrices.com. His website tracks gas price highs and lows.
It's not uncommon to see a range of 25 to 30 cents per gallon within the Twin Cities.
On this night, at $1.63 a gallon, this Brooklyn Park station is on the lower end of prices we found. They say their suppliers started charging them 4 cents more a gallon, so that's exactly how much they raised their prices.
You know, we don't want to fluctuate from day to day, have a huge profit margin one day and very little the next day. We just want to be consistent.
And that sounds good to Steve Gerbich, who points out while customers can shop around, they eventually have to pay.
Well, you got to get around, or else go back to the horse and buggy and buy hay.
Now, if you think things are bad here, just think about being in California, where some stations are charging $2.39 a gallon. If you want the really cheap gas, you've got to head south down to Georgia, where it's about $1.50 in the Atlanta area. So even though prices are going up here, we are somewhere in the middle of that. Live in downtown Minneapolis, Esme Murphy, WCCO 4 News.
Thanks, Esme. You can charge prices online at WCCO.com, and we'll tell you where you can find the cheapest gasoline. Scroll down to this link for TwinCitiesGasPrices.com. Will what you're driving put your family on a roll?
Government safety experts tonight warn the Ford Explorer Sport Track got the worst rollover rating in a new test. Researchers gave the SUV 2 stars. That means the risk it will roll during a sharp turn is between 30 and 40%. A Ford spokesperson says the government test uses a maneuver that's too extreme. Too extreme? No such thing for treasure hunters trying to dig up this year's Winter Carnival medallion. WCCO's Tony Berlin joins